Hi there, teacher Luis Milanes. My name is Carlos Beltran. I'm a student at the topic Discourse Analysis. So, I'm going to analyze a natural conversation to observe how paralinguistic features influence the meaning of the messages, or the way that we express our ideas, or the way or the way that we talk with somebody, or the tone of voice, or something like that. Yeah. So the objective of this analysis is to demonstrate that beyond the words, or the way that we speak, or the tone of the voice, the pauses, the intonations, and other similar elements influence in the meaning, and reflects the intention and the emotions of the interlocutors, right? Or the way that we talk with somebody, with the tone of voice, something like that. Something like that. So to do this, I will work with a transcript of a real conversation that arise from every context, everyday context. We will to analyze, for example, how silences, or the strategic pauses, or changes in tone of voice, or and the moments of laughter, or sensation contribute the way that we can to express the ideas. So here I have a short text, right? A short conversation. The characters is Miguel and Anna, right? It's a short conversation, right? And to know, I'm not like that this video will be so long, and for that reason I will not read. I will not read the conversation, right? Uh, it's the conversation, but I'm going to analyze some specific parts of the conversation. That is this, right? So I will divide this video in 4 parts. I'm going to analyze four specific topics, or so 4 specific parts of the video, right? Each one has your own title, right? The first part of this video is the tone of voice. I'm going to talk about the tone of voice, and I'm going to analyze uh, a sentence between the conversation, talking about the tone of voice, or the way that I can recognize a tone of voice, a different tone of voice between the conversation. The second point is the pauses and silences. And also I will to analyze some part of the text, right? The third part is louder and rhythm changes. It's also interesting. And the last one is sessions and message intentions, right? I'm going to analyze some specific part of the conversation, right? So to start, I'm going to talk about the tone of voice. Yeah, like an introduction of tone of voice. The tone of voice helps convey emotions and bold report with the listener. For example, Miguel uses a warm and friendly tone of voice when getting Anna. For example, here, hello Hannah, how are you today? Right? Hello Hannah, how are you today? Right? This opening sets a relaxing and trusting atmosphere, allowing the conversation to flow naturally, right? Uh, I cannot listen Miguel said, hello Hannah, how are you today? I cannot listen Miguel. I'm just reading a conversation. But here, just reading that sentence, I can feel the way that Miguel expressed that feeling, right? I can feel it, right? Because I cannot say something like, hello, Hannah, how are you today? No, because if you meet with your friend on the street, you don't say, hey there, teacher Luis Milanes, how are you today? No, it's no logical, right? I cannot listen Miguel, but I can feel that Miguel said, "Hello, Hannah. How are you today?" With a trusting atmosphere. Is my friend Hannah is my friend, and I feel so happy because I met with Hannah, right? And I feel that Miguel say, "Hello, Hannah. How are you today?" Right? The tone of voice, or and I'm talking about the tone of voice. And here Miguel said, "Hello, Hannah. How are you today?" It's so important between the speech because you can express your feelings right now. And Miguel feels happy to meet with Anna. And for that reason, the tone of voice it's important to express your feelings. In this case, is the way that Miguel expressed. Your feelings. Miguel feeling smile to meet with Anna, and it's it's that's all. And the opening sets a relaxing and trusting atmosphere, allowing the conversation to flow naturally. Right, that's the first one. So the second is pauses and silences. Right between the speech, a pause and the way that you are talking and your pause your voice and I stay in silence a bit moment and I follow with my conversation. That's an example. But in the conversation, okay, I'm going to introduce this part. Pauses structure speech, create anticipation or emphasize certain points. A great example is when Anna reflects on the diversity of emotion in a workplace conversation. For example, Anna said here exactly, right? Exactly. Short pause, measured voice. Also, while talking about our daily routine, it was clear that everyone expressed their emotion differently. Some used humor to ease tension, while others took things very seriously, right? And here, after exactly, we have a short pause, right? Because yeah, Anna said that I was on the office cafeteria or coffee shop when a spontaneous conversation started among a group of college. One of them told a history about the almost getting lost on the subway. It's a bad, it's a bad situation, and soon everyone burst into laughter. It's a bad situation, and the people lower, right? And Miguel said, "No way." Sounds like one of those moments that really makes the day easier, right? It's a smile or happy situation. And Anna said, "Exactly." Yeah, because Anna is agree with Miguel. So after of this exactly, it's necessary a pause because Miguel needs to process the things that he is listening, right? And in that specific moment, and here we have a pause, right? So this pause help the listener to process the information and reinforce the idea. The emotional expression varies from person, right? And for that reason, it's important after of this exactly a pause because Miguel is processing the information, or or Miguel is thinking about the history that Anna is talking about, and for that reason, here we have a pause and a short silence, and that's an example, right? So that is also interesting. That is interesting point. So I'm gonna talk about the third point is the way that the people lower and ring changes, right? Um, I I I I have an example, a personal example here that it's so important if you allow between your conversation or if you are express a bad situation or some specific situation, if you have an allow in your mind or if you have a smile in your face, it's so important because maybe I'm talking about a bad history in the past in my life, right? But nowadays it's a just history, right? Yeah, for sure. In the past, it was a bad situation, but nowadays it doesn't matter. And for that reason, if I am talking this history with other person, I really need to express that situation with a laughter or with an smile in my face to express the idea that that situation nowadays it doesn't matter for me, and maybe the other person can to smile or maybe can laugh about that bad history, right? As an introduction of this part, the laughter fosters empathy and softens interactions. For instance, when Anna shares the anecdote about the college almost getting lost on the subway, her animated tone and laughter highlight the shared amusement, right? Yeah, in this case, if you are lost in the subway, it's not necessary so beautiful experience because it's so yeah, it's so bad history because it's so bad if you are losing in the subway on the subway. It's a bad situation. But if you are talking about that history with a smile in your face or laughter, you are expressing to the other people that that situation nowadays it's not important, and you can laugh or you can smile about that history because if you are talking about bad history, because if you are talking about the other history. Oh God. Because if you are talking about a bad history, but with a ton of voice, or maybe sad, or maybe serious, or maybe crying, maybe you are expressing to the other people that it's a bad history for you, right? And in this case, Anna is louder, right? In the other hand, if Anna said in tone of voice or with a crying or with a bad expression in your face that she lost on the subway, maybe she has stolen in the subway, and she's talking about talking about that history seriously. In that case, she is expressing to the other person that that um that experience it's so bad, right? And the other person interpret your feelings, and the other person will not smile about the situation. In opposite, the other person stay quiet or stay sad with you, or maybe stay in silence because you have an expression or an sad expression in your face. But in this case, Anna is louder, right? So, for example, one of them told me a history about almost getting lost on the subway, and suddenly everyone bursts into laughter, right? Here, laughter plays a key role in the message interpretation, signaling that the situation is perceived as a lighter or humorous, or the other person can smile about that history. Is that it doesn't matter that history nowadays. In this case, the other person can smile about history. For example, Miguel can say that, oh, okay, you are lost in the subway. So where Miguel can smile, right? That is the third point, the way that you can laugh or you can to express and smile in your face if you are talking some history. For example, in this case, I enjoy to express the idea that I have in my mind and I'm smiling. And for that reason, or in this case, I would like to express um, my feelings making this job. I feel so smile, right? So the fourth point or the last one is the is is the hesitation and message intentions hesitations. So it's other example, funny situation. As an introduction of this part is the hesitations and pauses can indicate discomfort or integral thought process. A clear example is when Anna describes a muster or when she lost with your friend or with your or her college. Yeah, for example. And here say that okay, I'm lost the part. I'm lost the part. Okay, okay. And yeah, and this part is here. You could tell he was frustrated, even though he tried to explain himself. There were many pauses and stumbles that show with his discomfort. Yeah. So here the pauses and yeah, the pauses and the hesitations. Here's how the speakers struggle to find the right words and communicate frustration beyond the verbal content, right? So Anna said that the other person looks frustrated. Even though he trying to explain himself, there was many pauses and stumble that showed his discomfort. And Anna, in this case, she cannot express nothing because she is thinking what words or what she can to say, right? So, yeah, when hesitation and the message intentions, and here also can to interpret, and here we can also to notice the pauses, right? Because and he said that is discomfort, right? And Anna said bad situation, and maybe there are some specific the times that you are no idea what you want you or what you can to say to not be unpolite, right? And you make a pause in your speech, and for that reason, hesitation and misintentions, or maybe Hannah say something that, or Miguel said that I experienced a similar situation. Sometimes the silence and changes in tone communicate more than words ever could. Yeah, because one thing is that one thing is what you are talking about, but the other person your use expression or your verbal expression is other thing, because I can feel so furious, but with the way that I express the things, or maybe I uncomfortable with some specific conversation, but I'm furious inside, but my words is other, right? And that is the other analyze that I can notice. So that's all. It's so interesting. It's a so interesting way that the way that we can so analyze the species or the pauses or the way that we can to communicate with the other people the way with so polite way. So as a conclusion of this video, the paralinguistic feature enrich communication, but by adding nuances beyond words, tone, pauses, laughter, and explanations help shape meaning, reveal emotions, and make conversation feel more genuine. Understanding this detail leads to deeper and more empathic interactions. And that's all they are, teacher. I really hope that you like this video. This is the last one workshop to this topic, and mm, that's all. Before to finish this course, I need to tell you that I feel so grateful with you. I've learned several things for you, and I just want that maybe on the future we can meet in another topic of the university pensum. Thank you so much. See you later, there, teacher Luis Milanes. Thank you so much.